What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to take you guys through my free draft for the upcoming Double Game Week 28. Firstly, no, I'm not activating the free chip for Double Game Week 28, but a lot of people in my Twitter DMs and also in the YouTube comments were requesting this, as it does seem like it's quite a popular strategy. Now, I always do say these free hit and wildcard drafts are for those of you who are activating the chip and those of you who are no chippers for the respective game week, just because it's sometimes nice to see what strategy people are going for, as well as with the free hit, it gives you the best team for that specific game week. So what you guys can do if you're not activating the free hit for Double Game Week 28 like myself, you can just check this team out, and maybe with those free transfers and those hits, you can bring some of these players in. So like most drafts, I'm going to start off with some context, some background, and some fixture analysis before going into those drafts, where I will be giving you the Chelsea and the no Chelsea versions. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So firstly, before I get into the depths of the fixtures and also the free hit draft, I just want to give you guys a reminder about the FA Cup, and if you don't know why this is important, make sure to check out yesterday's transfer plan video, as I go quite in depth into blank game week 30. But in terms of your free hit, the basis of the FA Cup is just going to be to monitor the minutes and also the injuries of those Premier League players, just so that the players you bring in on a free hit or those free transfers don't end up getting injured and aren't too tired heading up into Double Game Week 28. Most of the premium sides are playing, so make sure that you watch out for that, but I do think there'll be some rotation, as it is still the 5th round of the FA Cup. But now going on to the Double Game Week 28 fixtures, and as I always say, I like to give you guys some background and context onto the fixtures, as this is going to be the bread and butter of any kind of free hit or wildcard draft. So Double Game Week 28 is going to be a double game week for 6 teams. This could also change, but I'll talk about that in the next talking point. But the current confirmed 6 teams are going to be Newcastle, Aston Villa, Wolves, and then Leeds, Southampton, and Watford. The nice thing actually about these fixtures is that no real kind of premium side, top 6 side is covered here, except for maybe Wolves, who are kind of pushing for those European places. So let's start off with the left-hand side of your screen. We're going to go over Newcastle, Villas, and Wolves fixtures. Starting off with Newcastle, they have Brighton at home and Southampton away. And as you guys will see, I've put in my own kind of allocations to that fixture difficulty. If it's a green fixture, that means it's a relatively good fixture. If it's a white fixture, kind of a mediocre fixture. And red will be assigned for those bad fixtures. So in terms of Newcastle, Brighton, Southampton, kind of 2 meh fixtures for me. Newcastle have actually been playing quite well recently, especially from a defensive point of view. So if you guys do own a Dubravka, unfortunately with the Trippier out injured, might make a miraculous recovery, but I don't think so. So you might be wanting to give those Newcastle options a skip. From an attacking point of view, Brighton are a little bit of a hit or miss side. Every time I say that they're a good defensive side, they go concede 3 to Burnley. So I'm not going to say that this week, but also Southampton have been defending quite well recently. So that's why I think both of their fixtures are kind of average. Moving on to Aston Villa, the same thing can be said about Southampton. This is, however, a home game for Aston Villa, so maybe at their home ground can put on a good show. Stevie G had them playing quite well when he signed, but they've kind of tapered off a little bit and look a little bit average at the current moment. Now heading into that Leeds away fixture, it's quite hard to predict. Unfortunately, the Leeds manager was sacked and they have a new manager, so maybe a new manager bounce could be on the cards. It's an away game, so I'm pretty sure Leeds will be wanting to cement a good performance in front of their home fans, especially with the new manager. So it is quite hard to call, but I still am recommending Leeds as a green fixture. We then head on to Wolves, who definitely have the best double game week of Double Game Week 28, so would definitely recommend a triple up. They've got Crystal Palace at home and then Watford at home as well. 2 lovely home fixtures, and the Wolves defense has been relatively solid. The most annoying thing about them though is they have been kind of conceding 1-0s at 2-1s, that sort of thing, so just been letting that clean sheet go slightly, but maybe against Crystal Palace and Watford they can cement a double clean sheet. From an attacking point of view, don't really know what to say about Wolves. Raul Jimenez getting benched on the weekend, so don't really know if he's actually going to be playing for Wolves in both games. But from an attacking point of view, they haven't been scoring that many goals, so we definitely recommend the defensive side of things. Now heading onto the right side of your screen, we're going to start off with Leeds. We have Leicester away and Aston Villa at home. Leicester are a side that haven't been defending well, and I'm pretty sure most of us will be favouring those Leeds attackers such as Rafinha, and that's why I can recommend this fixture, but Leicester could always pull something out the bag and defend quite well. Aston Villa at home though, I'm saying this is going to be a good fixture just because I think that Villa Leeds game will be quite open, and therefore I won't recommend the defenders, but I think a Rafinha in the attacking side of things, that game's going to have a lot of goals in. Leeds also have this new manager bounce. I don't really know how that's going to play out. Don't think the new manager is that much of a park the bus manager, but I think they'll still be scoring some goals hopefully. Southampton coming with Aston Villa away and then Newcastle at home. I'm saying it's a good fixture from a home point of view against Newcastle, even though they actually have been playing quite well under the new manager Eddie Howe. But I think Aston Villa away is still a little bit of an average fixture. But Southampton have been playing well, defending and attacking well, and that's how I would recommend their players. And then finally, probably the team that's going the most under the radar, it's going to be Watford. Arsenal at home and then Wolves away. Two very tough fixtures, but I think with the incorporation of Ismaila Sarr in that forward department, the forwards aren't looking that bad, but I also definitely wouldn't recommend them from a defensive point of view. So overall, as I said, some nice little differential double game weeks here with lots of the Man Cities, Liverpools, Arsenal's not having a double. That's going to come next week. So definitely we could take advantage of these doubles with some nice fixtures, but also some average ones. One thing to note though is that there's no red fixture in terms of these games, so that's a positive and a negative. It's a positive because these games could go either way, but that's also a negative because it's quite hard to call who's going to win. Now quickly before we get on to the free draft for double game week 28, I just want to put this announcement there that if Chelsea or Norwich do win the FA Cup 5th round game, kind of any one of them has to win. Chelsea play Luton but Norwich take on Liverpool, but if one of those two teams do win, both teams will double in double game week 28. Chelsea have Burnley away and Norwich away, and Norwich have Brentford at home and then Chelsea at home. So we went over this in detail in yesterday's video, so I don't want to go over it too much, but I just want to say that this Chelsea double looks simply outstanding and the Norwich one is probably an avoid. But the reason I kind of want to highlight this is that I have made two free drafts, one with those Chelsea assets and one without, so just stay tuned to the end of the video for the no Chelsea draft. But now let's go on to what everyone's been waiting for, the double game week 28 free draft. Definitely going to be bringing some of these players into my own team with those hits and those free transfers. The first thing I want to say though is that this free draft I could afford with about 5 million in the bank. So because we have so many differential teams that are doubling and not really that many premium options, I had a lot of money, so you guys should be able to afford this. And if you can't, I might be slightly worried about your bank. But as with any draft, let's start off with the bench, and the first thing I want to say about the bench is that this was not the most expensive bench that I could afford, just because I wanted to avoid a benching headache, and too many comments down below asking me, why are you benching a Trent Alexander-Arnold, a Van Dijk, that sort of thing. So I've gone for kind of a mediocre bench, but still with some great assets. We saw in double/blank game week 27 that the bench was needed, and that's why with all the money in the bank, I would recommend you guys getting quite a strong bench. So replacement goalkeeper is going to be Dubravka. I think at 4.4 million, perfectly fine to go for him. There are other options that you guys can look at, a Forster from Southampton, but generally you'll expect your starting goalkeeper to feature, and that's why at least Dubravka can come off the bench if needed with a double game week. Brighton at home and Southampton away aren't too bad. I kind of listed them as average fixtures, and with Newcastle's defensive improvement, Dubravka could definitely be on the receiving end of a clean sheet, but also some save points. We have opted for a 3-4-3 formation, and therefore we do have two defenders on the bench. First choice is going to be Lucas Digne with Southampton and Leeds away. Aston Villa is quite a hard team to kind of call. They kept a clean sheet in game week 27, but before that, they didn't look that strong at kind of losing to Watford. So I'm just hoping that he does get on the receiving end of at least one clean sheet, and maybe some attacking returns as well. But he will be first on my bench. Second on my bench will probably be Ramsey from the same team, both same fixtures. Ramsey I do actually like because he is nailed to start. I just worry about that Aston Villa attack, and I think the defense might be a little bit better. Last on the bench is going to be Matt Targett, who actually went from Aston Villa to Newcastle, so we almost have three Aston Villa players here. But Brighton at home and Southampton away, same as Dubravka. I won't hold too many thumbs for clean sheets, but I guess he is a fine replacement. But now let's head on to the starting 11. As on any free, that's where the magic's going to be happening. And the starting goalkeepers are pretty predictable. It's going to be Sarr from Wolves. Crystal Palace at home and Watford at home are too hard to ignore from a defensive point of view. And at his price point, about 5.1, 5.2 million, I do think he's great value. Wolves are my favourite for two clean sheets in double game week 28, and that's why I have gone for Sarr, as he does offer some save point threat that will hopefully get him some bonus points as well. Going on to the defensive side of things, I've also partnered up with Saiss in that centre-back position. I do think Saiss is nailed to play both after the injuries to some other defenders from Wolves, and that's why I think against Crystal Palace and Watford also offers some attacking threat off those set pieces. Now Wolves have actually been really annoying over these prior game weeks, as I've mentioned, lost the clean sheets out, kind of 1-0s, 2-1s, that sort of thing, so I do hope that they get some defensive returns in double game week 28. Our other two defenders might be a little bit controversial, but I've decided to double up on those Chelsea assets. Burnley at home and Norwich at home are fixtures that are too hard to ignore in terms of double game week 28, and therefore if Chelsea do get the double as expected, I would recommend going for some Chelsea defenders. Now we mentioned this in yesterday's video when we spoke about the Chelsea defenders. I don't think Reece James is going to play 2 games, and therefore I've gone a little bit safe, a little bit conservative with Thiago Silva and Rudiger. Now yes, these two might be benched, but I do think most games they should be starting at centre back for Chelsea, and against Burnley and Norwich I'm expecting some clean sheets, but also some attacking threat from these centre backs. Now there's a whole bunch of other defenders you guys could look at. I think Southampton look quite strong from a defensive point of view. Aston Villa, I've got Digne on my bench, but I generally think I trust Wolves and Chelsea slightly more to give me those clean sheets. Now moving on to our midfield department, and the only single game week player I've actually managed to put in is going to be Mo Salah, and the reason for that is with only 6 teams doubling, I managed to incorporate some single game week flavour, and that's going to be Mo Salah against West Ham at home. Now definitely not the best fixture in the world. I think West Ham have been playing quite well, but they have also been conceding, and Liverpool's attack is so strong, I do favour Mo Salah actually to outperform some double game week options. But yes, you guys can downgrade him to someone else, but I honestly couldn't think of another option. But if you guys do have a good replacement with a double, comment it down below. But then moving on to our 3 double game week players, Coutinho against Southampton and Leeds, I think they should do quite well from an attacking point of view, but unfortunately Coutinho's stats have kind of deteriorated over these prior game weeks and definitely not looking like the option he was a couple of game weeks ago. But I still do have faith in the Brazilian. Might be a little bit of nostalgic goggles here as a Liverpool fan, but I do still favour Coutinho, and I think you have to go with him on a free hit. Same can be said about Ward-Prowse and Rafinha, probably the best option from Southampton in that midfield department. Aston Villa away and Newcastle at home are great fixtures, and the way Southampton are attacking, I do think Ward-Prowse will get you some returns. Rafinha is also a little bit of an interesting one. I kind of gone up with that captaincy consideration. Definitely not that big of a fan of double-digit returns, but Rafinha can still tick on quite nicely, and against Leicester away and Aston Villa at home, I'm expecting the Brazilian to do quite well. The new manager bounce could be quite a good thing for Rafinha, as he hasn't been playing that well over the prior game weeks. Maybe this can give him the boost and the rejuvenation to get you some points. And going on to our last position, the forwards, I've gone for a 3 up front, not the most expensive forwards in the world, but definitely I'm hoping they all return. Going to start off with Raul Jimenez, as mentioned, didn't actually start for Wolves in game week at 27. I was quite disappointed with that, as I thought he could have done quite well against West Ham, but that wasn't the case. Some Wolves fans saying that he actually looked quite tired in the prior game weeks, and that's why I'm just hoping that it's going to be a rest. But against Crystal Palace at home and Watford at home, I do think Raul Jimenez can get on the receiving end of some returns. I guess it's just going to depend if he starts both. But the final 2 positions are going to be the double up in that Southampton forward department. Che Adams and Broja, definitely the favoured options in terms of those 2 strikers. There could be some rotation here for maybe an Adam Armstrong, that sort of thing, but I do think that Adams and Broja are first choice, and I do hope they start both. Mentioned it with Ward-Prowse, but Southampton have actually been attacking quite well, and that's why I'm fine with doubling up on their 2 strikers and a triple up in their attack. So this would be my current free draft if Chelsea do get the double. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of it. There are some other options that you guys can incorporate, but I generally think this team is a good template to kind of base your free draft on. So now quickly, if Chelsea don't get the double, if Luton beat them, or if Norwich beat Liverpool, which I mean isn't that unexpected in the FA Cup, a couple of upsets always do happen every season, but what I would do is downgrade those Chelsea defenders, and I would incorporate Lucas Digne and also Kyle Walker-Peters into my starting 11. Now you guys will notice that there's a free spot in terms of the defender on the bench, but you guys can kind of put in there whoever you want. The budget's there to kind of bring anyone in, even a Trent Alexander-Arnold. But obviously if I do bring another Southampton option, I have to downgrade one of them, and that would be Ward-Prowse, but instead of downgrading him, I would upgrade him to Heung-min Son. I generally think that Son and Salah can both get returns that are going to be bigger than double game week players, and that's why this downgrade / upgrade might actually be quite good. So this would be the team if Chelsea don't get the double. I would just incorporate the Aston Villa and Southampton defenders, and then put some variation in your midfield. But if you guys are free hitting in double game week 28, comment it down below. I want to see those drafts. Also, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below and I'll try to get to them. But this is basically wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you're new to subscribe yet. I will see you guys for the team selection tomorrow, as well as a wildcard guide coming up later in the week before hopefully a deadline stream heading into that double game week 28 deadline on Saturday afternoon. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.